Everyone hear me? Great. Hopefully everything is clear. Okay, apologies for the delay. I stupidly decided to click Windows Update uh, before I started the stream. Hello, hi, Crypto Hunt. Hi, Big Sido, fellow miner here. Oh, great. Okay, nice. I am on like a multi-stream, so this is streaming to Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Thanks everyone. Let me just make sure that everyone's aware. Okay. Surface. Meanwhile, so just for those of you who just tune in, this isn't really scripted or anything like that. I just wanted to cover the recent market crash, Firo's finances, what kind of caused the crash, some good things, some bad things, the upcoming tokenomics change, the community fund creation, and the community fund committee nominations. These are the main topics that I kind of want to talk about. Hi AJ, hi Crypto. So hopefully painful for everyone, and I mean we are affected as well. So let's discuss that soon. Okay, so let's begin. So who am I? My name is Ruben. I am part of the core team. Obviously, we have seen a very huge market crash of the entire crypto industry. I mean, let's just take a look, right? Like, I think Firo went down maybe the 20-30% in a single day. I think like Bitcoin went down 15% and stuff like that. And several other else. I think even Avalanche also went down 30%. And obviously, I know there's a lot of fear in the market, and I don't usually comment about price because that's something that's beyond our control. But I wanted to explain certain things that are within our knowledge. That some good, some bad. But so far we will survive this. All right. So the first thing I guess people will ask is, well, why was Firo so badly affected during the crash, right? Like if Bitcoin goes down 15%, why are we down 30%? I mean, obviously, as an altcoin, we are correlated to Bitcoin, and obviously when you have such a huge market crash of sorts, any sort of jitters, and especially on the altcoins, are going to be more substantially affected. Hello, Christian. Hello. But there were several other things that kind of contributed it, and one of the things was Binance chose this moment to do maintenance on the Firo wallet, which then prevented people from withdrawing Firo, and that caused a bit of a panic. And because of the huge drawdown, I think it was like 50% from like a couple of days ago. CoinRabbit also informed me there were a bunch of liquidations that happened. And CoinRabbit is a place where you can put your Firo up as collateral and use that to get like a USD loan. And unfortunately, I think people didn't expect or didn't top up fast enough, and those caused liquidations, which also pushed the price quite a bit lower. Hi Tirapa, hi Monobody. So yeah, that was kind of the issue. And so yeah, I mean, it also kind of like, people thought there was something wrong with the network. There was nothing wrong. Really. So let me kind of explain what was the issue with the Binance wallet, which is still ongoing right now. So right now, Binance Firo wallet is currently under maintenance, and you'll notice that it's not a problem with other exchanges. It's almost like a Binance specific issue, and it's not really a Binance like problem per se. It wasn't like from negligence or anything like that. It was just very, very bad timing that they chose to do maintenance. And why that was the case was we are a UTXO chain similar to Bitcoin. And what happened was there were many, many small little amounts of Firo being deposited into Binance. And this, probably from miners and then, people who were just, I don't know, depositing really small amounts. And as a result, the wallet became really, really clogged up with all these really, really small UTXOs. And to kind of send them out, you will need to kind of add them all up and consolidate them together. And if there are too many, the transaction can actually fail because the transaction size is too large. So what actually would happen is Binance actually has to look at their wallet, consolidate the UTXOs into bigger ones. And this is only, you will probably, as a regular user, like a normal user, probably won't experience this. But, when you're in an exchange dealing with, several thousands of users, this sort of thing kind of happens. And this was a problem that we kind of knew several months ago. And we informed them about it. They said that, all right, we're kind of busy right now. We'll get to it when we can, but we don't want to pause the Binance wallet. Well, the problem became so bad that a lot of withdrawals were failing. And therefore, I think they had to take the points and look, like, we have to deal with it right now. So therefore, they paused the Binance wallet withdrawals to take time to consolidate it. Obviously, the timing is very, very bad. Especially, right now they're dealing with a Luna delisting and all sorts of like liquidations happening. So I can imagine the Binance tech team is like super, super packed at the moment, and our wallet remains suspended in Binance. But it is not a problem with the network. It is not a problem with the Binance per se. It's just a really bad timing for maintenance. Hi, New England crypto. Yeah. So yeah, I hope everyone understands that, we are working with the Binance team. Well, actually, there isn't really much to work with. They just have to consolidate the UTXOs, and they are aware of it. And they don't have an exact ETA. But they are working on it, right? Because we also cannot push them. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that is on their plate at the moment, but we will keep you guys posted as as much as we can. Hi, Bruno. Okay, so that's the reason why Binance paused. There's no delisting. There's nothing happening of that sort. It's just extended maintenance that came at a very, very inopportune moment. Now, there are some good news. Like, if you take a look, first of all, for those of you that are still here, that are still sticking around and believing in the project, really, really, a really huge thank you. I know it's not easy. I mean, I'm hurting as well. But if you take a look at the masternode numbers, they actually haven't dropped. They have actually remained stable. And I actually think that once the Binance wallet goes live again, we will see a lot more masternodes. So people, you guys have really, really held on to the project, and I hope to continue to see that. And you guys are the the true believers in the project, and I really, anyone who contributes to running a masternode, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. So that's the good news, right? I usually, if you see like a kind of like a run, like such a massive drawdown, you would have expected, please touch wood, like a quick exit to the door, people rushing to liquidate their notes and stuff like that. But we haven't seen that, so that's the good thing. People are still running their master nodes. Is it possible to set up masternode for free if I already have 1,000 Firo? It's not possible for free, no. But I'll leave it to the the other community managers to answer that. I don't want to get derailed and talk a bit more on the important things that are happening right now, right? AJ, Lucas, if someone can just kind of like answer Big Sido on that, right? Oh, it's not $60 to $100 to run a node. It's $5 a month. Hello, Kevin. All right. So, okay, let's talk a bit about the core team finances. Right. Okay. So in February, I wanted to be more kind of like open about our team finances. Some people seem to have this impression that we are raking in a huge amount of money and have this surplus to do lots of different things, right? Now remember, Firo is a community project, right? And um 85% of the supply goes to the community, right? We are not like a centralized issuance. We give it to the miners, the people who run master nodes, and we take a 15% of the block reward to fund our stuff, and we don't get it up front, right? So it means that the core team is actually incentivized to, keep the project going, right? And if you take a look, this was in February where the price was a lot higher. We were getting about 55,000 US dollars every 30 days. And if you want to take a look, that time our break even was about 380 US dollars. That means that we didn't have to dip into our reserves. But right now, obviously, there's such a huge drop, right? The break even was $380, right? And with the huge drop, I have made the decision to cut several things. And so we terminated our market makers. We were actually very, very happy with them. It's just that, I rather cut all these other things than stop development. I have stopped my salary for several months. I want to make sure I rather prioritize keeping our developers than my own pay. Any sort of additional stuff, like we had like a working agreement with Altcoin Buzz and all of that has been also stopped. Research resources we actually still have, but then at the moment, most of the stuff that we have done in research, we actually haven't made an announcement, but if you saw, we actually teased that we already came out with our Aura paper. The Spark is done. The Spark paper is done. So a lot of the research was actually done, and they were kind of looking for the next thing to do. So some of them have agreed to pause to their work, and that we can restart them. To seeing how the market conditions. So we do have our research team too. It's just that right now, they're kind of taking a step back while the market starts to recover, right? So you don't have to worry about that. Obviously I would have liked to kept them on, but things are what it is. Any sort of additional community managers like those that are running the Japanese, the Vietnamese, and the Japanese, Vietnamese, Turkish communities. We have paused that as well. That wasn't a lot of money, but every little bits of helps. So right now, our kind of like expenses every month, just to kind of like get by, is about $30,000 a month, and that covers the salary of actually, let's see, six people and infrastructure hosting. So if you think about it, it's an average of about 5K USD per person. And it's actually, I have to say, I'm so thankful for the developers that continue to work with us, right? A lot of them could have gotten a lot higher pay elsewhere. They have chosen to stick with us. And some of them even say like, look, you can pause my pay at the moment. I would really not want to do that. They also have families to run and stuff like that. So far we need about 30,000 US dollars to cover our monthly expenses. And that kind of works out to be almost like a $2 price where we are kind of like break even, right? Oh yes, I remember Luke. Yes, yes, I remember you. So okay, so all right. I hope to actually see. There are several things that you can help. Right. I mean, obviously, we are at like the 140, 150 range. We are still operating at the deficit. Obviously, when our reserves were at like 200k USD, and um what do I say? Now it's at like 100k USD, mainly because we were using those reserves to do market making. And that meant that if you're doing market making, you would have to have some of your reserves in Firo and also Bitcoin, both which also crash. So obviously, there's been a drop in that. Now, it's still around about 100k or so it can cover the shortfall for a couple of months. But obviously, hopefully, this thing, this brief market downturn is just a brief thing and not an extended thing. I really, really want us to complete Spark. I really, really want us to complete Elysium. And so far, if things are continuing as it is, well, we probably can do it. We obviously would like additional help. We are raising funds. So if you take a look, there are the Firo Core Team donation drive. That's at 33% funded. Anyone who has some spare Firos can send in them that way. Or you can actually also just donate directly. It doesn't really matter. Any sort of help really helps. We actually also posted like several other addresses if you want to donate in other coins as well. We accept those as well. So yeah, so obviously tough times, but I'm doing my best to make things work. I hope you guys appreciate it. Like, sometimes it's tough, but we are really making the best of it, and we please, appreciate the people that are keeping this project running. A lot of them have turned down much more lucrative offers because they believe in this. So yeah, okay, great. So let's see what else I wanted to talk about. All right. So on the bright side, uh, the $2 break even is on the basis that the development fund does not get any sort of additional funding, right? And now there is actually a tokenomics change that is coming pretty soon, maybe in a month or so. And what that would do, take a look at the final poll. All right. So we had this poll which was on over for like, I don't know, maybe 2 months or so. And now, currently our block reward is divided currently at 50% to miners, 35% to master nodes, and 15% to the development team, right? And there was a vote, right? And after like I think 2 rounds of votes, the change that actually has been agreed on by the community is to increase master nodes to 50% to also reflect their increased role in providing security to the system, to have miners at 25%, and very importantly, the creation of a community fund of 10% of the block reward. Now, the community fund is not run by the core team. It is run by the community, or rather representatives of the community that are elected by the community. And we are currently taking nominations to do that, right? So yeah, let me take a look. Right. So if you take a look, there's this nomination for community fund committee. Well, community fund committee is such a hard thing to say. And currently there are 11 nominations for 7 slots, right? This poll will probably be open for another 5 days. It's not a poll, sorry. A nomination will be open for another 5 days. And the idea is that we want to get seven members in this community that are, community members. They cannot be full-time members of the core team. Part-time is fine, or contractors are fine, but they cannot be people like me, people who are full-time in core team, because we want to have some sort of independence from the core team itself, right? And so far we have 11 candidates. And once this nomination period ends, we will start the voting process. There will be a bit of vetting, just to make sure that these people are legitimate people that really want to see Firo succeed, right? So yeah, okay. And yeah, nice to see some familiar names there. And there are also all these rules as to how votes should be passed, quorums and things like that. So I wouldn't go too much into that, but it is a very, very exciting time for Firo, because what it means is that instead of just the core team getting funds, the community is now actually incentivized to start their own stuff. Now, obviously, because with the massive downturn, there's been some informal talks to at least tide us over through this period, because there's a shortfall, as I mentioned. Some of the community members say that, why don't we have the community fund be given to the core team temporarily? I don't want to weigh in on that. Obviously, it would be appreciated, but it has to be the community fund committee that decides that, not us. I've already laid out the situation. They can decide to fund us or not, and we'll see once the community fund is actually created. Uh, cool. All right. How can we know more about that each person that is nominated? That's a great question, Fully Electric, right? So now all of these people have posted their introductions. Some are a bit, I would say, a bit brief, right? So, if you are applying to be a CFC member, please take this role seriously. I don't have any say in this, but it would be good for you to write a longer uh, post about who you are, why you care about Firo, and what your plans are for the community fund, right? And if you take a look, like Jared Tito, I know he means well. It's kind of brief, right? I would kind of like to see something a bit more, substantial introduction of who they are, why they think should be a CFC member, and yeah, so yeah, I just really wanted to make sure that everyone who wants to be a member of the CFC can get their nominations in time. But you can, first of all, if you think their explanation isn't good enough, sign up on the forums and tell them. Right? I can't tell them. I cannot be part of this nomination or election process. It's meant to be independent. So if you say like, oh yeah, this guy hasn't explained enough, yeah, say it. But I will be actually approaching each of them one by one, and running a kind of like a live interview, where the transcripts of that interview will be made available. And it's not a paid position, but yeah, uh, I think it's a really important responsibility, and if you want to see Firo grow, it is a very influential position, right? So, does anyone have any questions? I might have missed a few people who ask questions. Right. Some even posted in Chinese. Or actually, so if you take a look, there's this little global button here. You can click and it'll translate it using Google. All right. There needs to be much more details that's very important as established trust. Well, what kind of details do you think? There are actually a lot of details in the first post. If there's anything missing, do let us know, right? But obviously, if you're talking about the candidates, yes, they should be explaining themselves a lot more. Some of them I definitely notice, like you see them in the Telegram community, you've seen them, they've been contributors to the space. So some of them I don't know who they are. Can you post the links in the description? AJ or Lucas, can you do that? Yeah. We'll post it in the description later for sure, but we can post it in the chat right now if it allows you to do that. Yeah. So anyway, if you can see, anytime you see something in Chinese or in another language, you just really have to click this little global button and it will translate it, and you'll probably get the idea of it as well. Okay, great. Really happy to see Rusik's nomination. He's been a big contributor to the space. All right, so what else do we want to talk about? Okay, great. The last thing that I want to talk about is I haven't posted this week's weekly updates. So you will notice that I have taken a step back from at least appearing on the Telegram channels, the Discord channels. Obviously it can be very draining, and I instead decide to be more active on the forums where I can post everything in long form, have good discussions there. So if you notice that I have been posting weekly development meetings, right? Okay. Wait, I'm someone seeing Patrick Murphy, what capitalist point of view? Copying and supporting an idea. Okay, all right. Okay, so if you take a look, every week, we'll post like what's happening right now. And I haven't posted this week's update. There are several very cool things that are happening. Well, unfortunately, first of all, the bad news is that Vong, who was working on the Firo client for rep address support, got COVID. So we wish him the best, and hopefully he'll get better soon. So yeah. Oh, the other thing is that actually on top of the tokenomics change, the block time would actually be reduced. This doesn't mean that the rewards will come. The rewards will come twice as fast, but will also be half. So it works out to be the same. So there's no acceleration in distribution of the token, right? But it does mean the faster block time. Currently it's at 5 minutes, which is like very, very conservative. That's going to be reduced to 2.5 minutes. And of course we have instant send, which means that transactions actually are finalized in a couple of seconds. But many of the exchanges and stuff like that, they still rely on block confirmations. So the reduced time would really help a lot of these things, even if they don't support the instant send. So 2.5 minutes is great, and we'll be seeing a lot faster block times, and that should actually improve the user experience a lot. Now the code for that is actually all ready, right? And it's going to be wrote together with the tokenomics change. We're creating the new wallets for the Firo Community Fund and all of that, and we'll be deploying it to testnet. Actually, it should be this week also. Elysium, everything is looking good. Elysium is our new tokenization layer. And all the existing, this was actually 10 days ago, so it's a bit out of date, but there is still a potential speed up. There's a slightly slower performance on Mac for some reason, but otherwise it works. We don't think that everyone will run the Elysium client, but it is slightly slower because there's additional data to process as well. Block size is staying the same. Hi Manuel, thanks. Yeah, definitely. right? Now, block size is staying the same. What it actually means is when we make the block time faster, we are actually doubling throughput because we are keeping it the same. So yeah, the TX throughput is doubling. So our block size is currently at 2 megabytes. If 2 megabytes block size, we already have two times the size, and then two times the so we're not four times two times two, four, then another two. So I guess we have 8 times the capacity of Bitcoin, which really is overkill at this point. But hey, the capacity is there, and it's ready, especially when the latest transactions are bigger. So yeah. Um, so yeah, the other thing that I really kind of want to talk about is actually the state of mining. And okay, this looks like another spam thing. So again, despite we have been trying to get miners to decentralize their hash rate. And unfortunately, we've been saying this many times. We've appeared on several like mining focused blog posts, right? And first of all, look, I know some people have actually approached they actually have shifted their hash rate to Wooly Pooly or Minpon and stuff like that, and we see you. Unfortunately, if you take a look, it's the most of the hash rate is still enough, right? And it's, if you take a look, 2 miners has 53.2 plus 21.1, like 70 to 80% of the hash rate still. So although there has been some people shifting, it really isn't enough. And this was one of the reasons why we had to decide to slash mining rewards, right? Because as we said, mining is a responsibility. I mean, I know some people just say like, oh yeah, I have to make money and stuff like that. Yeah, sure. But if you are mining on Firo, right, you should be decentralizing your hash rate and choosing 2 miners. You look, even Minpon has a lower pool fee, right? So it has a lower minimum payout. So, and it is solving blocks on a regular basis. So there isn't really any reason why you should be focusing on 2 miners, right? So it's kind of disappointing to see this, and in a way, this is kind of the last kind of warning to miners. Not warning, kind of like, hey, we are now forcing you to upgrade your nodes, right? That means all people have to update their miners and everything and all of that. Please freaking switch your hash rate, right? So now obviously, even if we have such a high concentration of hash rate in a single pool, we are still protected by the master nodes. That's how the system was designed. But miners are still supposed to perform their backup as a backup security function, and of course, 2 miners they are not malicious. It doesn't really serve it in their interest to attack Firo, but it is still giving them the power to effectively censor transactions or to actually, basically double spend and things like that. So even if you're mining on their solo pool, it doesn't really help. Where do you want me, Patrick Murphy? Yes, please. First of all, as I said, I'm not saying all miners are like that. It's just that the majority are. I know they are great people like you. They're great miners that actually do support the project and try to shift their hash rate elsewhere. But I'm just saying, like, these are the numbers. I'm not making it, but I'm not making it up. The numbers don't lie, right? If people want to switch to Minpon or Wooly Pooly, that's fine. I think these are the two uh cool stuff like that, right? Yeah, yeah, definitely. I know not all of them are bad actors. Two Miners isn't a bad actor. They have helped us before, when we were under attack. They helped roll out certain updates really quickly. The only thing that was, I guess, a bit of a bummer was I asked them, would you be amenable to increase their pool fee to kind of decentralize their hash rate, right? Uh, but yeah, there's like, no, we are a good pool. We are not reducing that. So that was uh disappointing. But please, yeah, there have been, you know, DJ Mines, like Voscoin, all these people, they're mining community, and there are many other miners that want to actually support Firo, right? And I'm not crapping on them. I really appreciate it, but we have to see like what are the majority of miners doing. It is if you take a look at this really oh god, if I open up my YouTube, uh so if you take a look, we actually have a 2-hour video with Vosk. Look at that. Yeah, so this was 11 days ago. Wow, 13,000 views, not bad. Yeah, that's me. And we were examining, like, is this a problem just with Firo or the mining community at large? And it seems that, well, obviously Firo has it a lot worse than some others for in the mining community in terms of hash rate, but it is not restricted as this is kind of like in an industry wide problem, right? And where miners are just mining purely for profit. Though there are very interesting things that are happening. I think is it supposed to be in 1 day's time? There's supposed to be the great hash rate shift, right? Yeah. So they were actually supposed to, shift hash rate from Ethereum to all the other good proof of work chains that were supporting them. I think Ergo, Firo, and Flux are all like in it, and I'll be really happy to see that happen as well. Okay, so yeah, of course, some people say 15% to the developers is a scam. It's disclosed. We post how we use our money. We aren't getting rich off it. The alternative is to give it to miners. So yeah, cool. So all right, now I've kind of dealt with everything. First of all, like, yeah, these are tough times, right? And I, appreciate all the support that everyone's giving, right? And I really appreciate the miners that are coming here, but please, I know, we have limited abilities to convince these big miners to shift. And personally, I'm bigger. I'm a huge mining supporter, but they have to be supporting us as well, and the ecosystem, and taking their responsibility seriously. And we aren't asking a lot. We're only asking them to shift their hash rate to other pools. Yeah. So yeah, okay. Great. So I mean, sorry guys on the guys on Twitch who are normally watching me play games and box having to deal with this, but Streamlabs only allows me to stream including from Twitch, so this has to happen. Tough times indeed. Firo had any Luna? No, so Firo, our treasury was not exposed to Luna, thankfully, very thankfully. I mean, our reserves were a combination of Firo, Bitcoin, and USDT. Is there a way to force them to switch? No, I mean, the decentralized nature of it. If we force them to switch, then like you're migrating tomorrow. That's really cool. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Firo is one of the most profitable privacy coin to mine. So yeah, I'm really excited to see that. I hopefully when people migrate, don't migrate to two miners. Migrate to Minpon Wooly Pooly. Minpon has been a huge supporter of Firo. They contributed the open source pool mining software. Uh so if you want to support like supporters of Firo, Minpon is one of them. I like to mine on Woolly Pooly because I'm based in Malaysia and they have a Singapore node. So I like to mine because it has lower latency there. Yeah. So yeah. Are there any questions? We're really happy to kind of think about things. Obviously, there are several things in the. Okay, like somebody has asked about the Kraken listing, Coinbase listing, and things like that. Kevin, don't redeem key those. I'm in the middle of meeting. But what was I? Now I've lost my thing. So okay, so with exchange listings, I've actually wrote a very long post on it. Yeah, exchange. Oh, I can't find it. Hang on. Oh yeah, I wanted to share like two particular good pieces of news. So we are looking to work with a provider to launch uh, a a debit card for Firo that would actually um, allow people to load up their card with Firo and spend. That's a really good thing to do, right? And I don't know how fast this is happening. It kind of will be like a 3-in-1 thing. Let me take a look at that conversation. Give me a moment. So of course, being part of the regular fiat system, they will be KYC on that card. But it's like they have an exchange, they have a wallet and a card all together. It's a 3-in-1 solution. We don't know the cost of listing is, but we are in close contact with these people, and hopefully this is something that we can get integrated. And could be something that the community fund can contribute with. So yeah, this is kind of what is happening. So we would have a credit card that allow you to spend Firo in the real world. Yeah, that's great news. Now the other thing that is also happening is we are integrated with now payments, right? Yeah, Loot PG actually appeared in the meeting, but the failed trumpet, very bad timing. Okay, so we'll be supported in New York. Well, okay, first of all, the credit card unfortunately will only be supported in EEA region to start with, but I do believe they have plans to support it elsewhere. They have to start somewhere. I'm hopeful that it will be expanded, especially I want to see in Asia and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about that. The other thing is also so now payments, we are integrated to some of the largest kind of crypto payment processors, which is Coin Payments and Now Payments and Binance Pay, right? So if anyone wants to kind of like accept Firo for their business and stuff like that, you can easily integrate this. You don't even have to run a node. It'll just kind of like automate that all for you. Now, the good thing is that Now Payments is actually launching a way to get as long as the purchase price or the item that's being is more than 15 euros, they can convert the Firo automatically to fiat for you. That's really good, right? I mean, obviously we would like people to just accept Firo natively, but let's face it, when you're running a business, you just want to get the fiat value. So Now Payments will be opening that integration where if people pay in Firo, it gets automatically converted into fiat and really, really helps adoption. So one of the things that we need to work on as a community, not just the core team, honestly, this is should be a community-led thing is, if you have a small business or if you have any business or you have a service that you want to use, get them to accept Firo, tell them all these ways that they can accept Firo because Firo is useful as a currency. I mean, we have the Traveler payments, we have all this other stuff that is really useful. I still use Firo on Traveler and at 2 million over hotels. So, although we see, our market cap dropped a lot, it's, if you think about, even with our current level of adoption, the exchange listings that we have, the technology that we have, that is among the best in the privacy space, I personally think that we are very undervalued, right? And it's great to see the masternodes hold it, even despite like such kind of like difficult times. So, how much time would be spent a month on the fund committee? So, typically we hope that it really depends on the number of fund requests that happen, right? I would say there will be a mandatory monthly meeting, which I think could say that 1 or 2 hours a month for that meeting, right? Because sometimes it may be long. I don't know. I'm not running the show. I would assume maybe 1 or 2 hours a month, right? And I don't think it even needs to be necessarily like held at the same time. Of course, it'll be good to have some people attend and then they all chip in and chime in their own self. But obviously, if there are a lot of people posting proposals, so how it would work is people will post a proposal on the crowdfunding system, and it will be the community fund committee that decides. So right now, obviously, there aren't a lot of proposals, right? Anyone can open a proposal, just clicking here. Let me just switch to that. Right, so anyone can open a proposal, and if there are a lot of proposals, yeah, it's going to take more time. But if there's not a lot of proposals, then it's not going to take a lot of time. But I think for the first few months wouldn't be that packed, because I mean, right now, I think people are saying, let's help the Firo core team, or maybe let's fund the second audit. Let's fund liquidity incentive. These are like really no-brainers that can be done. Yeah. All right. Any update on the use of Firo for large scale blockchain political elections? That's a great question. I don't know if I am spoiling. Let's see. So this was actually released it was made public maybe a couple of days ago, right? And this is a private voting system, right? And it actually kind of adopts Lelantis technology. Let's see if I can open it here. Lelantis inspired technology to have a really, really good voting system. It means that privacy of voters are protected. The ballot progress is protected, and every step of the way people can verify. And there's very, very minimal trust in the election authorities and things like that. So this is really, really good for, of course, real world elections, right? But also for DAOs, right? And we've been thinking about how do we want to do this, right? So this is something that I kind of want to ask. I haven't created a trade on this. You're not a nuisance, ABNS. I'm not sure why you think that. Okay, all right. Wow, don't sort out that drama. But okay, back to the thing at hand. So obviously we do want to have some sort of governance system, but people have to realize that Aura is a voting system, but people still have to decide who should be the voters, right? And there's been quite a lot of people. Well, not really. It's like one group of people, mainly from the Chinese community, that have been actually saying that they want to implement masternode voting. Okay, global adoption of the blockchain type election. Yeah, so these type of things are very tricky. I mean, I know we did something in Thailand, right? Uh, and there's actually this system is actually a lot better than many of the other systems that were deployed in Switzerland and even in Russia. This is actually like really groundbreaking stuff. And we are thinking about, well, how do we want to get funding for this, right? Because as you know, the core team has been designed to, like, do privacy technology and all of that, right? We do not have sufficient funding to both work on the voting system and the privacy system. But we have committed to saying, let's develop Spark out, well, let's get Elysium out. But we have this other thing right now, that's this Aura voting system that we will eventually bring to Firo. But right now it's like we don't we need additional team members, we need additional funding for that to happen. And I felt that it was not the right thing to do to just have the Firo block reward fund it, right? Because this thing has potential implications for all sorts of DAOs. Like, there's Ethereum DAOs, there's many DAO applications want this type of thing. So we were thinking about applying to the Ethereum Foundation for funding to develop this Aura voting system out, so that we can have funding to actually build this thing out that will be used for Ethereum, but also can be adapted for Firo's use as well. No, Firo, are you saying only Masternode? No. So we have been very okay. Let me focus my thoughts. Right, okay. So let me answer the fully electric. So first of all, most other masternode projects implement masternode voting, where only masternode operators are allowed to vote. Firo has made that decision not to do that, and to do it in more of like an informal mechanism where we engage community feedback and sentiment from everybody, not just the masternode holders, but from miners and all of that, right? So if you take a look, right, that poll was not just restricted to masternode holders; it was anyone with the sufficient trust level in the forum could vote, right? And some people were unhappy, saying that why are we giving the miners the vote? But honestly, if you just have masternodes voting, you are basically just saying that only the rich has the say, right? And of course, there's this flawed reasoning that says, oh, if I have masternodes, I would make the best choices for my investment. But that is correct. You will make the best choices for your investment, not necessarily long term. It could be short term, right? And that could be like abandon totally, proof of work, 100%, screw the development team, 100% to masternodes. That could be a short term, very profitable decision to make. And we actually had a big whale that wanted to kind of do something similar. And I think it's I actually wrote a very detailed post about it, which I'll probably link it later, about why pure coin voting is bad. Even Vitalik also shares this opinion. So there's a reason why we have not implemented masternode voting. It is a very naive way of thinking that it would work. Yes, quadratic voting is what we are thinking about, but that's more on the funding side. So quadratic voting, how it works is actually, so what it means, like, let's say if I open the FCS, right? And let's say, like, okay, take a look, right? You can see that this has 46 contributions, right? And something like this has 9 contributions, right? And it's not just the amount, but the amount of community with people willing to give money to this. So they're voting with their dollars, right? That means they have to pay for something. And the quadratic voting works by having this matching fund that says that, okay, well, if a lot of people actually think this is a valuable thing to fund, then the matching fund will match it more. So what will happen is that your $1 donation may be matched by a $10 donation from the community fund. So the idea for the community fund eventually is to actually move to a quadratic voting function whereby the CFC committee no longer is making the decisions of whether to fund this or not. It's more about making sure that these things aren't being gamed, right? So if like someone like makes lots of accounts to donate and kind of pretend that lots of people want this proposal when it's clear it isn't. So uh, yeah, it's a very complex issue, but I really think coin voting is not the way to go. I will probably post that thing. Let me see if I can find. Here we go. This is the post that I wrote. And I hope someone can actually share this link to the chat. If you see, this actually goes into the problems with coin voting, pure coin voting. And Vitalik wrote a really good stuff on this and why this doesn't work in the long run. So I will be very against it, but obviously, yeah. Oh, another thing is that there's been some people, well, only one person that wasn't really happy about this, but this for like the miners who don't have enough to make masternode but want to earn some rewards, but are it's like they are obviously custodial risks. They can use services like iNotes or Evo Notes, right? And both of these have Firo, and this one also has Firo. Why is it not loading? But basically, here we go. If you don't have enough, you can always place your Firo into one of these pools, and you get to earn like masternode like returns, right? Obviously, they have to minus the cost and a bit of profit, but it's a way to earn some passive income. There's this nice dashboard, but obviously there are risks, right? That means it's custodial. That means they hold your coins on behalf of you. But for any amounts that like low that you don't mind losing and stuff like that, or like you're building up to for your masternode and just sitting there waiting, this is a great way to kind of do it. Yeah, better than of course. Binance has locked staking as well, but they're giving a very low return. I feel that these people might be giving a bit more. So yeah, so this is cool ways to get Firo masternodes running. Oh wow, like there are 96 users, not bad. Oh, we've kind of recovered a little bit, I think. Right. Yeah, so great. Well, what was I talking about? I'm getting distracted a lot. Okay, so I've already talked about the masternode voting, about the coin voting. Now we're back to talking about this aura thing. So this is something that's really important that I want to gauge community sentiment on. So right now we don't have the team that is necessary to build the aura voting system out. Most of our developers are C++ developers to develop some sort of DAO type of system. So, you need someone that's kind of familiar with the Ethereum system. And I don't really want to we are already like tight, we want to develop Spark and Elysium. So we want to take Aura to open it up to funding from other entities, right? And we were thinking about applying from a grant from the Ethereum Foundation. And that would actually help in the Firo team indirectly. First of all, we are getting the exposure, like, oh, look, Firo's tech is really cool, that they are also applying it to Ethereum DAOs, right? And it will help build like the Lelantis name, the Firo name, and all of that. And because it's a separate funding, these are both cryptographers that work with us. And obviously, right now, Firo is in a position where, we've kind of done all the research that we need right now for Spark and all of that. And when the budget is tight, I would like to keep these cryptographers working for Firo related projects, right? And the idea is, so I want to keep these people working for Firo, but right now our funds are not sufficient to keep them full time on. If we could get an Ethereum grant for this, we could basically let them work on making Aura a lot better, because it still is lacking security proofs, which are very necessary, especially if you want to run a nationwide scale election. So lots of more mathematic proofs are required. And what that would do is that, yes, we can build now Aura out that's not just for Firo, but for the entire crypto ecosystem, for DAOs. The idea is to build this privacy DAO toolkit that can be applied on many, many different DAOs and eventually Firo's itself. But we were thinking about applying to the Ethereum Foundation to get a grant for this. Mikara from Hashcloud say that she would be amenable to be a co-applicant. She's quite a prominent person in the Ethereum community. And I thought that would be a great way to get Firo's name out, reduce the cost to the core team. But I wanted to see whether this was something controversial, because people might say, oh, you're taking Firo's work and resources and now building this for Ethereum. But I don't see it like that. I see it as a way to improve, to get this product out that will eventually be used for Firo, to get additional funding and awareness for it, and to also help reduce some of the cost by getting additional funding sources, so that this can be a separate venture altogether. So, yeah, I hope. I just wanted to see what do people think about it. Do you think that this is a fair thing to do? Can we get at least a 1 year automatic for masternode? Okay, again, we are not having masternode voting. If it ever happens, there should be some sort of lock or whatnot. So yeah, does anyone have any questions on this? If not, I'll probably make a forum post on this. I would like to move quickly on this and get funding from the Ethereum Foundation. I think it'll be a very good first, it'll be very good research. It'll be a really cool thing to build, and it helps the Firo core team by keeping these cryptographers involved with Firo related work, but not us having not to pay for it. Obviously, that's not the main intention, but I just thought it was unfair to fund this Aura thing, which is not. It is Firo related, but it's not like directly related, right? And to have the block reward fund this during tough times may not be the best way to do it. It's not sexy, but it helps improve Firos. I'm okay with it. Where can we get info about it? Let me send the Eden and Franklin and see if we can get some support behind it. Okay, cool. Okay. Where can we get info? Well, I haven't posted this. This paper just came out like a week ago. Obviously I had to deal with a lot of stuff. But we'll be posting about it in the forums, and we'll be gauging community. We want to get the sentiment to make sure that people understand our motivations and in getting funding from the Ethereum Foundation or some other source from that. Yeah. Because this Aura was basically Firo funded research, right? And obviously we want Firo to benefit from it, but we can't see it to the finish line because of other commitments. So it makes sense to have funding to get it to the finish line. So yeah, I have nothing else to add to that. I would recommend that people sign up on the forums, be more active there. Eventually we will start increasing the trust levels to be necessary to vote. Obviously, we have to formalize our governance systems. Obviously, we will want to try to get quadratic vote. Oh, by the way, Aura also supports quadratic voting, so there it is. It's a really cool and flexible system as well. So I hope that it gains interest. There has been actually quite a bit of interest from outside the Firo community as well. So we have approached the 1 hour mark, and we'll make an announcement on Aura and stuff like that. And does anyone have any final questions? I hope you guys realize that things are tough. I'm not gonna lie. Native Firo iOS app. Oh yeah. Wasn't there a new post? Wasn't there a new update out? AJ, do you remember? I remember I seeing Zara post something on the iOS app out for that. But even as it is, the Campfire wallet is a no-brainer. Now there are other things that Receipt has been talking about that he wants to help fund. Like for example, Firo tip bot that would support Elysium tokens. That would be really cool. A web wallet for Firo. That like almost some sort of browser extension. That would be also really cool as well. So yeah, I can give a sneak peek recorded iOS for that. Yeah, sure. I think you can do that. All right, yeah. Tough times, but I'm still positive. We're not giving up. I really hope that this calms people's fears. Obviously, we can't guarantee anything, but all that we can do is be honest upfront. And we have a really good, despite the negativity, if you take a look at our Telegram chats, our Discord chats, it's actually getting really healthy. We have weeded out all those people that are just completely just whining about price and stuff like that, and they want to see Firo succeed. I hope more people contribute. Whether it can be in any way, right? A lot of people think contributing means code. Obviously, code contributions are valued, but look, like I want to give a shout out to Joe. Joe was someone that saw like the previous Firo Russian community like kind of dead because the previous admin wasn't active, and he basically revived the whole thing and started translating, and he isn't getting any money for it. He just started that himself and started promoting it for the community, right? And I think that's really amazing. This is what we want to see more, right? And we aren't expecting people full time. It's fun, right? So if people want to make merch and stuff like that, and yeah. So I'm gonna wrap up here. I haven't had my breakfast. And when is the next meeting? I would like to get more of the community watch and interact live. This was kind of like impromptu because of the situation. I wanted to calm fears and make sure everyone understood what was happening and the cool things that we have in our pipeline. But I guess we should be doing a monthly meeting for this. But I will definitely host one if there's any sort of stuff like that. Yeah. All right. If there aren't any more questions, I'll probably end the stream right now. Thanks to everyone who came by. I hope I do hope the crypto market recovers. And I really want to see Spark come to life. And I'm very excited for Firo's future. It's tough, but really excited at the same time. And it's kind of a purge. And seeing the masternode numbers hold is really, really encouraging as well. Star Path Academy. I'm just about ending. Wall Street Ruben, you do good live streams. The Star Path Academy was someone that covered us and interviewed me. So please do give his channel a follow. I think we had like a pretty long interview. I hope that went well. Yeah, no worries. You can rewatch and have a good day, everyone. Please follow. People who cover Firo or support Firo, just give them a like and subscribe. We have to have create this positive feedback loop of people supporting Firo and people who support Firo. All right, have a good day, everyone, and stay